I will tell you, I was not invited to the choir for some reason. And then everyone moved away from me when I was singing for another, I don't know, but I'm getting a sense here. We are so blessed. We are blessed to be able to worship openly. We're blessed to be able to just come before and have family, because this is what this is, the extension of our family. Last week we talked about the seat of being ambitious and having a position. We looked at a desire to be close enough to Jesus to just be seen without surrendering. The sons of thunder, hang on, because I like doing it my way. The sons of thunder. Anyway, they wanted a seat, right? They wanted to be, they wanted proximity, they wanted prominence, they wanted honor. They wanted everything except for what God was giving. See, Jesus answered them with a deep question. And we're going to bring it up again this week in Mark 10:38. Jesus said to them, "Do you not know what you're asking?" Now, let me go ahead and stop right here. If Jesus, the one that did miracles, rose people from the dead, healed blind, and did all these different things, and he asked you this question, what would you be thinking at this point? Oh my goodness, what have I done, right? God, please forgive me. But no, our arrogance gets in the way, does it not? We say, well, our chests get a little bit more poked out, don't we? When we get asked hard questions because we don't know what we do, our fear, we let our overconfidence get in the way. And he goes, are you able to drink the cup that I drink? Or be baptized with the baptism of which I am baptized? Think about that. He didn't turn around and come at them with just hey, guys, if you want to be close to me, this is what it takes. No. What this is showing is the shift from week 1 to week 2, where the seat reveals what the flesh wants. The cup reveals what the heart wants. See, there's difference here. The spiritual authority doesn't come from grabbing a seat. It still comes from surrender. It comes from us giving our life to him. Jesus is showing us that's what surrender looks like. He's saying that because, if there's a crown, there's always been a cup. And they're like, what do you mean this cup? What is this cup? If there's praise, there has to be obedience. If there's glory, there has to be surrender. Jesus pointed that the cup and the cross were connected. And he does that today, church. He's saying it right now, that cup that is, showing not only the blood he poured out for us, all those things, that the sin was taken away, that we are not going to have to worry about that, but we have to do one thing, and that is surrender. Not because we have to, because we want to. See, our problem is we do a lot of things that we have to do. We never mean it. Can we go through the actions? He's saying this is not something that you just walk up and do. You have to be committed to this. Now, the question should shake our souls, right? That Jesus doesn't respond with a discussion of rank. Well, if you're going to be next to me, you'll be a lieutenant, you'll be a captain, and we'll walk in there and we'll take over everything. No. He reveals the cost. He reveals how hard the truth is. And let me ask you, can you handle the truth?
What do you want to discuss now? My favorite color? You ever served in an infantry unit, son?
No, sir.
Ever served in a forward area?
No, sir.
Ever put your life in another man's hands? Asked him to put his life in yours?
No, sir.
We follow orders, son. We follow orders or people die. It's that simple. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear?
Crystal.
Sometimes men take matters into their own hands.
No, sir. You made it clear just a moment ago that your men never take matters in their own hands. Your men follow orders or people die.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
That is about as true as you can get to our core of who we are. We take things in our own, we do things on our own without asking God, without following God, without caring what God thinks because we want it. But the reason why we do it is because we're afraid of the, everyone say it with me, truth. The truth requires us to be obedient. The truth requires us to stand firm in His word faithfully. No matter what is happening around us. When we go back to 38 again, go ahead and bring that slide back up for me. He's saying, can you drink from this cup that I am drinking? Or can you be baptized with the baptism I'm about to take? He's saying, can you handle the truth? Now let me calm down for a second because I get a little fired up sometimes, and I don't want to sound like an angry preacher, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not angry. I'm passionate. I believe that we're not doing enough to stand in the truth. We're not doing enough to push the truth. We're hiding behind complacency in this world. And if you want to see it, turn on the TV and you're going to see all those stupid commercials. Yeah, I said the word stupid from the pulpit. You're lucky if it's stupid. All right? Because those commercials get underneath my skin. Because they start not telling truths. They're all half-truths. And that's how we live our lives today, a bunch of half-truths. When Jesus said, are you able to handle what I'm doing? Because He came truthfully, fulfilled all prophecy, and stood in our place. Now, this was not a casual question. It wasn't light. It wasn't safe. He's saying, can you do this? Just like the movie clip. Hey, if you watch that full clip, if you notice there was some fade in and out, because the truth is they had a lot of cussing in it. And, well, Zoo did a very good job of moving us through that. We still got 56, that's out of 8 minutes. We got 56 seconds. Huh? You got to love Hollywood. But still, the truth is there. And he's right. We can't handle the truth. And here's the thing. This right here should be speaking to us. And how do we as believers answer this? Because if we don't want to be seen, we don't want influence, we don't want just the blessing for the heck of it or the favor, then why are we doing this? Right? Because that's what the world says. You want to be seen. You want to be influential. You want to be a blessing. You want to receive favor. Well, all those things have a two-way street, right? But this is what he's really saying, and we need to look at it this way. Will you follow me? Jesus is saying this. Will you follow me when it costs you everything? Will you obey me when surrender is painful? Will you trust me when the road is the hardest? That's what all that means. That's what this scripture means. That's what it means to our soul. Will we obey? Will we follow? Will we trust? Because most of us, we live by compromise alone, not by truth alone. Unfortunately, our politics, no matter what level, has to come to a compromise because they don't want to argue, because you spend more time arguing about something than you would getting through something. But when we're in our houses, when we're in our communities, when we're with our family, we don't have to compromise. What we need to do is stand on the truth. And we have to come to understanding that if we're going to live with the Word of God flowing through our body, guiding us, then we have to stand on the truth. We have to understand we can't do it on our own. We have to do it with Him. The seat that we talked about last week is asking what you want from Jesus. The cup asks, will you stay with Jesus and follow Him at all cost? See, the cup means much more. It's not light. It's heavy. It's heavy with judgment, suffering, an outpouring of wrath. See, Jesus took it for you because you and I could never have done it. We couldn't have took even a quarter of the beating that He partook in. We couldn't have hung on at the cross like he did, and we definitely couldn't have came back from the dead like he did. See, he is God. He is our salvation, and he is the truth. Those are fundamental parts that I can work with anyone on. The rest, I'll argue with you all day long because really, it's kind of fun. But these areas here, the truth, I'm not going to argue with. I'm going to stand with. In Jeremiah 25:15, it says this. This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, said to me. Take from my hand this cup of the wine of wrath. Make all nations to whom I send you drink from it. Look at this. He's calling it the cup of wrath. And in other translations, my wrath. Jesus speaks of the cup. He's speaking of something not small, but something large. He's speaking about how we endure through things. He's saying, look, I'm going to Gethsemane. The weight of the cup presses down on me. So he prayed in Mark 36 like this. And he said, Abba, Father. That's as close, that's as proximate, that is Daddy. He's saying, Dad, my Father, all things are possible for you. Remove this cup from me, yet not that my will, what I will, but what you will. In other words, if you don't want to take it, I'll do whichever you say. The human side of him is like, look, this is about to hurt. And I know why I'm doing it. But if it's your will, I'm going to do it. If it's not, then hey, let me know right now. And we know how that turned out. See, this cup, the weight of it, the sin, the judgment. Now I need you to understand this. When I'm reading these things off, I need you to let it hit. Each one of these be a nail into your heart. I need it to be a nail into your psyche. And then you understand that he drank this for you because of the following. Every lie, every act of rebellion, every betrayal, every lustful thought, every violent deed, every stain of human weakness and wickedness. Think about that. He saw yours and he saw my sin clearly. Because he sinned not, and yet he endured the cup of wrath. Jesus saw it clearly. But what he knew and what we know now, that what it meant was anguish, rejection, thorns, nails, blood, darkness, and death. And he still said what? Yes. Let me ask you, going back to the sons of thunder, which their mom asked the question and they didn't, which already tells you their fortitude. Could we handle all that? Could you handle all that? But let me get a little bit more hurtful. Let me get a little bit more to your kneecaps. Have you been handling all that? No, we have not. And so when we say yes, we have to understand that he's with us through all these things. He's already taken the blunt of it. He's already taken the worst of it. He's already said that this cup, I take this one cup of wrath because that's Christ alone. That's my cup to take. In 2 Corinthians 5:21, he says this out loud, or this is said by Paul, God made him who had no sin to be sin for us. Soak that up. I need you to soak that up. He made him who had no sin to be sin for us. Or just go ahead and mark out us and put me. So that in him we might become righteousness of God, that we may become righteous in God. We may be able to live outward with the truth. The cup is powerful. The cup is that we do not drink the wrath because you and I could not handle the blame, the divine wrath, or the judgment against our sin. But he did it for each one of us. He said, nope. I'm already here at the cross. I'm going to take where you should be falling on it. I'm going to take it for you. I'm going to bore your punishment. I'm going to satisfy the divine judgment. I am doing it for you. He stood in the gap for each one of us because we're all sinners. He stood in and said, I am sinless, I am God, but I'm taking on this blame for you. In other words, he stood between heaven and hell and said, you ain't going this way unless you want to go. I have a home for you. I'm fighting for you. Have you ever had anyone fight for you like that? Who gave everything for you? I mean, I'm powerful about this because I've seen it firsthand. I've seen men and women go and fight to death. And I tell you that it's no small deed what he did for each one of us and for your children yet to come. I cannot tell you how impressive it can be to see someone go out there not because they have to, but because they need to. And that's not a calling on everyone's life. I get that. Jesus is saying, this is my calling. This is not weakness. This is not tragedy. This is not defeat. This is love. It is a passionate form of love. This is obedience. It's the holiest form of obedience. This is kingship with the most to sacrifice. In Philippians 2:8, a lot of scripture here today because I wanted you guys to get the understanding of this cup. Go to the next. Is it there? Yeah, there we go. Wow. All right. Being found in the human form, he humbled himself to become obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. See, he did this for each one of us. He did it passionately, he did it wholly, and he did it with sacrifice. The cup that Christ drank from is not our cup. We can never handle that cup. He tells the boys that you can't handle this. And I imagine he did it much better than old boy did on the screen a while ago. Because look, he's telling you can't do this. Don't try. They're talking about prominence. He's talking about relationship and sacrifice. And when you're looking at this, Jesus says, you can't drink the cup I drink. He was not asking for us to pay for our own sins. He wasn't asking for us to earn our salvation. He was saying, I'm doing it so that all you have to do is ask for it. He wasn't telling us that we need to go drink this cup. He said, I'm doing it for you. He gave you everything. This cup of wrath is his alone. But the cup that we took today is about surrender alone. When you take communion, you're surrendering. You're surrendering to the fact that you remembered the sacrifice he paid. The atonement that he went forth on. The fact that he is your advocate before God so that you do not have to go to hell. That you're not going to be judged in that sense. When you come to him, it's not out of fire insurance. It's out of the passionate love of surrender and sacrifice that he did it for you and you're doing it for him. Because insurance ain't going to pay for what you've already done. Now, Luke 9:23. He said to them all, if anyone would come after me, let them deny himself and take up the cross daily and follow me. I need you to look at that scripture. I need you to look at that and just say, can I do that? Can I deny myself? He's not saying that you can't have a good time. He can't say that you can't go out on the bass boat, that you can't go out to the movies, that you can't go and buy a car. He doesn't say any of that. What he's saying, point blank, deny yourself to follow me. Do not let the world get in the way of what love and the sacrifice and the grace that he has for you. So let the world get in the way. Now here's the thing. Now here's the call. Let me give you these little things here. This is Jesus once again. Now, this is what he's really asking in this. Will you obey when culture mocks you? Sound familiar? Will you obey when culture mocks you? Will you love when you have been wounded? I want you to soak that one up. I'm going to lay that right there for a second. Will you love when you've been wounded? When someone has hurt your feelings, intentionally or by accident. I hurt people's feelings all the time by accident in my house because I ain't real bright. I'm the only man. That should all needs to be said. But I know how to come back around on that, though. I need to be right with God, and then I can be right with my family. If my up and down's working, all right, the left's going really good. All right? We need to get back to the understanding that when we're wounded, we still need to love. Because if you want to look at wounds, go to about hour 2.5 of the Passion, and I'll show you some wounds. And yet he still loves. Just saying. Will you stay faithful when the road gets bitter? Woo! Some of us been down some bitter roads. I'm not absent from that. It's hard. And sometimes people will look at that and say, well, you're being indifferent or this or that. You know what? Sometimes you're just in such surrender that you can't even believe you're surrendering. And you just look dumbfounded in front of other people, and that's okay. Because there's a confidence in that as well. You got to stop trying to control everything around you. We think that we are controlling it. The cup says, I will follow Jesus even if it empties me out. If it empties me out. Boy, that was really passionate until about that time frame. Maybe this is the comical moment for us right there. When it empties, boy, that was close. Empty when I am just no longer full of anything. There we go. My lips are not working, but my mind is. When I have nothing else to give, do I still love? Do I still follow? Do I still surrender? Have you been at that point where you're like, I'm done. I have nothing else left, God. What else? And he says, well, let's talk about that. And then you start seeing him with you, because when you start crying out to him, you start asking for the truth. When you ask for the truth, it changes everything. Look, the cup reveals who we really are. The seat's about the flesh. The cup is about the heart. Our heart reveals who we are. And that is scary, because the why matters, right? The cup exposes how shallow our faith can be. It confronts the selfish ambitions that we have. It also burns away the false discipleship when we've been trained in wrong ways, when we think one way and the Bible says another, but yet we're too stubborn to move. I've had to change my mind on several things over the years because God has changed it. The way I read something 20 years ago is different than the way I'm reading it today, and it's growing me. The same verse. So don't think that the way you were taught 20 years ago is going to be the exact same emotion and passion that you have today for that same thing, because God grows us and has a better understanding. And if you knew everything about the Bible, then you wouldn't need the Bible. Because every one of us, especially men in the room, have taken the instructions from a gift and threw it away, looked at the box and wonder why I still have 10 pieces left and it doesn't look nothing like that picture on that box. So what do? We go back, we get the instructions out, we open it up. Oh, that went there. Right? They just leave me alone during a building cycle. A, they pray I don't break anything, and B, they pray nothing breaks me. They check up every so often. Hey, you need some water? No blood. Okay, and they walk back in. We need to get into the instruction. We need to understand that we can change, that our selfishness, our ambition, our position, our false teachings that we've had, or the change of environment that we've gone through changes where we are with God. We need to start growing in that. The seat asks, do you want a relationship? That's the positive side, right? The cup asks, do you want to surrender? See, the seed attracts the flesh. The cup tests our heart. A lot of people want the crown, but very few want the cup. Many people want resurrection power, but very few of us want to be crucified through obedience. Many of us want the promises of God, but we do not want to be pruned in the process. It hurts to be pruned. It hurts for things to change in our lives. It hurts. But it looks so much better in God's eyes. It looks so much better in God's heart. And it's so much better in our lives. See, the pathway to the kingdom is always going to be marked. And I said it last week. I'm going to say it again this week. Before exhortation comes humility. Before victory comes surrender. Before resurrection comes sacrifice. All the things we want, we have to have something coming before it. We have a process. In Hebrews, rough day already for me here, guys. 12:2, it says this, fix your eyes on Jesus, the pioneer of perfection of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Jesus endured the cross because he saw beyond his suffering. He saw the will of the Father. And he saw the redemption of his people. The redemption of each one of us. The good news, and here's for all your weary friends, here's for you. The good news is this, Jesus went through a lot of pain. So our tough times don't mean that we're being punished by God. How many of you, I broke my arm because God must be punishing me. I went broke, God must be punishing me. I can't pay the bill, I must be punished. Let me go ahead and give you a little, embarrassment here. I used to think that way. I thought everything, every curse, everything came down on my family. So much so that I preempted and had caused cursed moments in my life. Because if you call it, you shout it, guess what you're going to get? You're going to receive it. And that's not the case. That's not what God's saying here. What he's saying more than anything is that your suffering, my suffering, is not proof that God abandoned you. It's proof that he's with you. The hardship is not proof that you've been left alone. It means that people are still coming. The pain is not proof that he stopped loving you. It's proof that you feel and you know what love is. Christ did not abandon us. He was the one who got abandoned. He got abandoned by his people. He got abandoned by his disciples. But is he abandoned by you? Ask yourself, are you willing to surrender to him? When we walk through suffering in obedience, we don't walk alone. The one who drank the deepest cup walks with you. The one who stood in the gap that gave you strength is with you. The one who said, not my will, but yours, now teaches you how to say the same. It feels difficult to obey when we're hurting. But God's right there with you. The question to you today, church, is this. Will you drink the cup of surrender? Will you lay down your pride, your plans, your control? Let me go, hang on. I want you to hear this again. Because this is where we, as a Christian, fundamentally start to fall apart. Will you lay down your pride? Yes or no? I put you on the spot for a reason. Yes or no? Okay, you guys are working on it. Good. Your plans. If you want, you want to hear God laugh, present your plans and say that's the gospel. Yeah, it'll change real quick. Your control. That's the hardest question I'm going to ask you ever right there. Are you willing to give up your pride? Are you really give up your plans? Are you really give up your control? My plan was to be an NFL football player. Then my plan was to be a chief of police. And then God kept on saying, no, get over there. You have to surrender. You have to surrender. I can't say it enough because when we do that, then we're able to say yes to God even when it's the most costly. So as I close out here, listen up. Jesus has already drank the cup that we can never survive from. He's placed before us the cup of surrender, and this said simply, follow me. It's not just a blessing or comfort and when the crowd is cheering, but it's when the things are the roughest. We do it out of obedience, faithfulness, and sacrifice. The hard road, the holy road, it's there. The wrath is not ours. Grace is ours. And when we can come together finally and say, Lord, not my will but yours, hell trembles, darkness disappears, and Satan gets cast into the lake of fire. The cup is about saying, let it be your will, not mine. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to surrender to you. We don't do it because we have to, because when you do it just that way, you're saying, well, I'm checking a box. You do it because you want to, because you desire to. You can't live without it. I can't live without him. It's by the grace of God that I have my family. It's by the grace of God I have you as a family. It's by the grace of God I'm standing here right now.